Rangers are in absolute freefall and the drama is exploding on every front. Russell Martin's days are hanging by a thread as the dressing room turns toxic, with Joe Rothwell taking aim at his own manager on social media. Bojan Miovski's been left completely stranded under Martin's shambolic tactics. Nuno Espirito Santo and even Gary O'Neill are circling as potential replacements, with whispers growing louder that the 49ers are ready to pull the trigger. And if you thought the Steven Gerrard or Sean Dyche rumors were wild, wait until you hear who insiders believe is actually the best fit for Ibrox.
And the obvious one for me would be Sean Dyche.
From mutiny in the stands to chaos behind the scenes, this one's unmissable. Well then, Russell Martin's Rangers reign is hanging by a thread, and by the looks of it, he still doesn't quite grasp what it means to be in charge at Ibrox. Ahead of the Premier Sports Cup tie against Hibernian this weekend, Martin decided to open his mouth at the press conference, and what came out was nothing short of baffling. He said, "Coming to a club like this, I knew the intensity of it. If you want to enjoy it when it is going well, you know you will have to deal with tough moments. Now, let's get this straight. You're telling someone who's bled blue since birth that they've got to suffer through the worst start in nearly half a century just to maybe earn a wee bit of joy later? That is not how it works at Ibrox, Russell. You don't earn the right to celebrate. You deliver success, then you get the acclaim. This isn't some learning curve or charity case, it's Rangers. And he didn't stop there. No, he kept digging. Very rarely do you arrive at a club when there is not a problem, he added, like some weary traveler who just wandered into a fixer-upper. You're not here to make excuses, you're here to win. And with 3 wins in 12 and a shocking 25% win rate, you're about as far from that as you can get. Let's not forget, he's tried to shift the blame, claiming he inherited problems. That's not the kind of mentality that survives in Govan. We've been 5 games without a win, and you're asking for time and patience. You don't get patience at Rangers. You get pressure, and if you can't handle that, then you don't belong here. The reality is, Rangers is not a project club. We don't wait 5 years for progress. We chase silverware every single season. If you fail to beat Hibernian in your own backyard this weekend, with a cup on the line, you shouldn't even be near the dugout. The likes of Andrew Kavanagh need to act fast, because every game Russell Martin stays in charge is another step away from what Rangers are supposed to be: relentless, ruthless, and winning. Why is Russell Martin being given the kind of patience and protection that no other failed Rangers manager in the last 2 decades ever got? Right, this one's a belter, and it says everything about the state of affairs inside the dressing room at Ibrox just now. Joe Rothwell, a summer signing that was meant to inject Premier League class into the midfield, has ended up making more noise on Instagram than he has on the pitch. And now he's gone and liked a post on social media that directly criticizes his own manager's tactics. You heard that right. Former teammate Barry Douglas was speaking on Open Goal, saying Rothwell's being wasted, stuck deep in midfield instead of playing in the pockets where he's most dangerous. And what does Rothwell do? He doesn't defend the manager. He doesn't keep his head down and fight for his spot. He likes the post publicly for the world to see. Now listen, I'm the first to admit Martin's tactical setup has been baffling, treating Ibrox like it's a training ground experiment, but Rothwell hasn't exactly done himself any favors either. He's been anonymous, 2 assists, a dual win rate that's bang average, and no leadership when the team's sinking. He came with a reputation, but so far he's just looked like another Bournemouth bench warmer trying to find his level. But here's the kicker. When a player's using Instagram to send a message instead of performing on the park, that tells you there's no unity left behind the scenes. The squad looks fractured. Martin's lost the dressing room, and now the cracks are being plastered all over social media for you to see. And don't forget, This isn't some wild rumor or misquoted interview. This is his own thumbs hitting like on a post that's basically calling his gaffer clueless. If Joe Rothwell is using Instagram to slate Russell Martin, should he be dropped entirely from the squad until he earns the right to wear the jersey again? It's no secret you're witnessing one of the most shambolic starts to a Rangers season since Disco was still in the charts. 5 league games, 0 wins, and a support absolutely at breaking point after that 2-0 humiliation to Hearts at Ibrox. Russell Martin's time in the dugout feels more like a countdown than a project, and the numbers are damning. Now, throw into the mix Bojan Miovski, a striker who absolutely terrorized Rangers while at Aberdeen, brought in from Girona for a fee that could rise to £4.2 million, a signing that should have lit a fire under our attack has instead been left wandering about the pitch like a lost soul. 2 appearances, barely a sniff at goal, and just 21 touches last time out. 12 players in that match had more involvement than the guy meant to lead the line. That's not on Miovski, that's on the manager. Let's not sugarcoat it. Russell Martin has no idea how to use the weapons he's got. Miovski thrives on quick transitions, balls slid into the channels, pace from the wings, and movement around him. Instead, he's stranded up front in a system that plays like it's allergic to urgency, which brings us to a potential game changer, Nuno Espirito Santo, a manager with pedigree, personality, and a CV thicker than a Glasgow fog. Championship winner, Saudi champion, European qualifier with Forest after saving them from the drop with a 4-point deduction. And yes, even got Spurs to win 9 games, which is more than Martin's managed at Ibrox. But here's where it gets exciting. Look what Nuno did for Chris Wood at Forest. A 33-year-old striker, written off by many, suddenly bagging 20 goals in the Premier League thanks to a system that actually played to his strengths. Counter-attacking, direct and aggressive. Sound familiar? It should. Sound. Because with Gassama and Antman ready to terrorize fullbacks and Miovski craving those runs in behind, the blueprint is right there. Nuno knows how to get the best out of forwards like Miovski, and right now, that's exactly what Rangers need. This wouldn't just be an upgrade, it would be a statement. A proper manager who's been in the cauldron before and thrived. The kind of appointment that tells the rest of the league, Rangers are done mucking about. If Nuno Espirito Santo can get 20 Premier League goals out of Chris Wood, is there any excuse for Russell Martin failing to get anything out of Bojan Miovski? The scene at Ibrox last weekend was nothing short of surreal. Hearts supporters chanting, "You're getting sacked in the morning," and Rangers fans, those who hadn't already walked out, joining in. That's where we are. 5 league games, no wins, rock-bottom football, and a manager who looks like he's aged 10 years since August. This isn't a crisis, it's a collapse. Let's be blunt. Russell Martin is finished. It's a matter of when, not if, and if Hibernian send Rangers Jan tumbling out the League Cup at Ibrox on Saturday, you better believe the 49ers will be holding crisis talks by midnight, and they should be, because another embarrassment on home soil isn't just a bump in the road, it's a full-blown identity crisis. Now, the names being floated to replace him, Steven Gerrard and Sean Dyche. Gerrard, the man who delivered 55 and stopped Celtic's 10 in a row, is a name that still carries weight in Govan. He brought back pride, fought in Europe, and rebuilt Rangers from rubble, but let's not rewrite history. 1 trophy in 3 years and a squad that struggled once the dust settled. He's a romantic pick, a safe return, but is he the right one for a modern rebuild? And then there's Sean Dyche, steady, pragmatic, hard as nails. But look at the clubs he's managed: Burnley, Everton, Watford, functional teams in survival mode. The question isn't whether Dyche could stop Rangers leaking goals, it's whether he could deliver a brand of football that belongs on Thursday nights in Europe and Silver Sundays at Hampton. But here's the twist in the tale. There's a third name being whispered, Gary O'Neill. Now, that's interesting. A young English coach who's earned respect the hard way, dragged Bournemouth from disaster to safety, took over Wolves at the very last minute and still guided them through one of the tightest Premier League campaigns in years. And he did it all while being praised by the likes of Eddie Howe, Shay Given, and even being tipped for the England job by Micah Richards. O'Neill doesn't have the flash of Gerrard or the gruffness of Dyche. What he does have is adaptability, tactical sharpness, and a proven ability to walk into chaos and organize it. In his own words, he can get a group of players from different cultures to buy into my way. And that's the exact opposite of Russell Martin's reign, where no one seems to know the plan, including the players. And if you're thinking, well, he got sacked at Wolves, have a look at Wolves now. Bottom of the league, winless, toothless. Maybe he wasn't the problem after all. Here's the truth. Rangers need a manager who doesn't treat Ibrox like a football lab. We need purpose, fire, identity, and most of all, we need someone who understands the demand, not the potential, the expectation. Now answer this. Would you rather see Steven Gerrard come back for round 2, or is it time for Rangers to finally break the cycle and go bold with a modern, tactical English coach like Gary O'Neill who could actually drag this club into the future? Comment below what you think about the news. Don't forget to leave a like on the video to help me out. I post videos every day talking about our Rangers, so if you're not subscribed, you're missing out on the latest news. See you soon.